What's up, guys? It's Parallax Abstraction, and welcome to Indie Showcase, now exclusively on YouTube. Indeed, I got a couple of games to show you guys this time around, and this is the first one that we're going to do today, and this is a genre that, as many of you know, is near and dear to my heart because it is a new modern-day brawler. Oh my, yes. I actually had a chance to see this at the Dongan Entertainment booth at PAX earlier this year. They are actually going to be the ones responsible for helping bring this to consoles next year. It's going to be coming to the PS4 and the Switch, but right now it's only out on PC. And this is called the TakeOver. And, well, if you can't tell from these screenshots, it is an ode to brawlers of times past. Yes, indeed. It is made by a largely single-person dev called Pelican 13. And I've played a little bit of this so far, maybe 45 minutes worth or so. And it's been pretty interesting thus far. I've been enjoying it. Couple of little caveats, but you guys know me. I'm a big Brawler fan, so I really want to show this to you folks. So, because Brawlers are one of those things that they're kind of near and dear to my heart, basically because it's a genre that I remember playing a lot back in the old arcade days, and it's a genre that outside of indie games doesn't really work anymore. You can't make a AAA brawler. I mean, brawlers were really designed as a relic of the 16-bit era, and as a time when games were really designed to suck your money through getting quarters and credits from you. So, but there are indie devs out there who are doing modern brawlers with modern mechanics and twists on them that make them work pretty well, and this is one of them, I think. This game very much wears its inspiration on its sleeve. Final Fight, Streets of Rage, Double Dragon, games like that. That is what this is all about, and it is unashamed of it, which I really like. City with a whole pile of crime in it. You got a kidnapped child you're going after. It is brawler cliche, without a doubt. But again, I don't got a problem with that, to be honest with you. So, but as you can see here, it's got that good J-Rock going. And it's interesting, this is done in the Unity engine, so while it plays like a 2D game, it is not a 2D game. It is a 3D rendered title, but it does very much play like a 2D brawler, which you're going to see here. So, there is a fairly decent amount of content in this, I believe. So you see here, you get to start with, there's 3 characters to begin with, and there is 2-player local co-op in this if you want. I had originally played this with Ethan, who does he look like? Yeah, I know, exactly. And this is Connor, who is very slow but very powerful. And this is Megan, who is not quite as powerful but is very fast. I'm curious to give her a try, actually, so we're going to do that. Now, these are all of the different levels in the game, or different level segments that you can go through. I've done 2 stages, and it's been about, like I said, 45 minutes to an hour's worth of gameplay, so you can kind of see here what we're looking at. And so this is a fairly decent length game. I'm going to go back to the start here so I can show you guys this. This has these really cool comic cutscenes. This is a game that, as far as I know, is largely done by one person, and if so, they got some chops. There's no doubt about that. I love all the, visualized sound effects. Really cool. Pretty neat, right? Like Verm, I love that.
Yeah, babe.
Yeah, babe.
What's wrong?
Ethan.
Voice acting's not perfect, but it's good in its own campy way, you know?
Is there blood?
No, not that I can see. But there was a struggle.
Cops all over my precinct have been getting death threats. It has to be whoever's behind this new crime wave.
This is a modern 80s city, gangs are taking over. Well, I don't know about 80s because there's cell phones, but,
She's our daughter, Ethan.
Damn right she is. Meet me in the alley on 5th and Marcellus. I know where we might get some answers.
Should I get in touch with Connor?
Do you need to ask?
So you may...
He's always ready for a fight.
You may see that there's... you may think that there's a lot of exposition and stuff in this. Not really. So far, this has been pretty much the longest cutscene that I've experienced. And there's only one in between each major level. See what I mean? I love that visualization. Really cool stuff. So there is a little story to this. It's pretty cheeseball, pretty much in keeping with the genre as well, of course. So, you know, I like it. Oh, listen to that Japanese sort of J-pop. I like it. So, as you can see here, now I'm playing with a controller. You can play this with a keyboard and mouse if you want. So it's pretty straightforward here. You got your punch, you got your kicks, you have a special attack that does extra damage to the enemies like this, but it takes a little bit of your health every time you use it, so you don't want to use it constantly. You really want to use it more to get yourself out of hairy situations. There is a late combo system. If you get in close to enemies, you will grapple them, which opens up a whole pile of other moves and abilities you can do, like throwing them. You can see a lot of enemies drop little power-ups, either for score or to give health. One of the interesting things about this game, though, is that, as we'll see later, there are actually firearms available in this. And they're kind of interesting. They do a fair bit of damage, but they're actually very slow to use, and kind of a little, whoop, there was a bomb in that post box, because, you know, or newspaper box, I should say. So there are guns in this, but they are, they're powerful, but very slow and cumbersome to use, so they're not always what you want to do. And beyond that, you see there's two other mechanics there at the top of the screen. So there's Super and there's Rage. So Super is an item or a meter that you build up that allows you to do the special sort of screen clearing move that you would have seen. That's very much a Streets of Rage style thing, where it brings in this really crazy over-the-top element from off-screen, and it sort of helps wipe the enemies out. And then Rage is another one that charges up over time. That one takes a while to charge. You're only maybe going to get to use it once or twice per level. But what that does is gives you basically double damage for actually a fairly long period of time when it's charged up. So when you have that, you basically can walk up to enemies and really sort of go to town on a crowd of people. So two different sort of methods for doing sort of high power moves. And as you can see, the mechanics of this are really pretty straightforward. It's punch and kick guys until they dead, and you get points for doing it. You see there's a combo system up top, so you actually see there I did pick up a gun. So the way you do it with the controller is you hold the right trigger, which draws it, which you see takes a moment. And then if you've got sort of line on the guys, boom, there it is. So Ethan, the main character, has more of a standard handgun that doesn't do as much damage as this 6-shooter hand cannon style thing does, but fires much quicker. And there's other guns that you can pick up, because there are, of course, melee weapons in this, like crowbars and things like that you can pick up and use temporarily. The bigger guns actually take the place of one of those weapons. So there are machine guns, things like that, but if you pick those up, they will actually take the place of one of the melee weapons that you can handle as well. So this is also probably sounding pretty familiar to those of you who know Brawlers at all. Now, one of the things I've seen that people both like and criticize this game is the 3D look. And the two main things that I have seen are that, as you can see, it is very, very shiny. Everything sort of has a glazy texture to it. Now, part of that is because we're playing in the rain, but it does look like that a fair bit. Some are also going to say that the animation has some odd inconsistencies to it, because you're going to see elements of it. The game's obviously running at 60 frames, and you're going to see that elements of the animations look very, very simple, but other elements of how the poses and stuff work on these character models, you're going to see it doesn't look like the characters have 60 frames of animation. So when this guy right here is winding up his punches and stuff, it almost looks like, this is going to date me a lot, but, well, some people will remember sort of how Mortal Kombat looked, and this game also has a bit of a look like Pit Fighter did, where it has these sort of realistic looking characters, but at the same time, they don't, while the game plays in 60, the characters are not animated at that, so there's this sort of weird disconnect about that. And some people will think that makes it look a little weird. I don't particularly mind that much in either circumstance, but it definitely does seem a little oddball in some cases, because like here you can see she's moving quite smoothly even when she's walking, but this other guy there, like even looking at his idle animation, see he's sort of, his character animation is a little bit out of step with how he moves. And that doesn't particularly bother me. Some people find that causes like a real uncanny valley kind of problem. So that's a bit of an interesting thing. You know, a lot of people really love games that do 2D art very well. I gushed on this channel a long time ago about Fight and Rage, which is still one of my favorite modern brawlers. Actually, arguably one of my favorite brawlers, period, if I'm honest with you. And that does an incredible job with 2D artwork and 2D animation. And a lot of people who are sort of old school brawler fans really like the 2D stuff. They're not really a fan of this sort of attempt to sort of halfway do 3D while keeping 2D gameplay. I don't mind it, to be honest. I think there's a place for both. Like, I really love Fight and Rage, but I don't mind the look of this either. And I think this can sort of help bridge the gap a little bit of people who think that, you know, 2D brawlers look dated in the sense that, you know, they remind people of an old school time. Now here's, you see I've got her super charged up, so the way you activate the super is by pressing punch and kick at the same time. So it looks like the super is the same for all the characters, which is kind of a bummer. So Ethan, when I played him last night, he has the same super, which is all those missiles come in from off screen. I was kind of hoping each character would have their own super. That would have been kind of cool, but oh well. And you see the Rage is there charged up as well, so it's telling me to click in on the left analog stick. I'm actually playing this with the D-pad, which I feel plays a little bit better to me, though you can play it with the analog stick. But you see if I click in the stick, there. So everything goes all devil red, and you see I am wrecking fools real quick. And the nice thing about this is that it actually lasts a pretty decent amount of time. Also got some pretty nice metal going on there. So you just become a god tier badass basically when that turns on. You know, really nothing wholly unexpected, but really nice little power fantasy thing. So, you know, pretty straightforward. Now, interestingly, this character I'm going to say is probably a little harder to play, because one of the things I was going to say is that the game, and maybe this is also because I'm recording, but when I played last night, I got all the way to the 3rd level, and I still had 1 life left on my first credit when I was playing as Ethan. Now, Ethan, as you saw, is the super middle-of-the-road character. He is the guy who is neither exceptionally strong nor exceptionally fast, but is equally balanced in both. This character is much more, she's much more speed than power. Though, honestly, she's not lacking in power either. She's doing okay on that front, because she needs a couple more hits than Ethan to take people out, but she's quick enough that she's getting those hits in a similar amount of time than Ethan would, so. But I like the fact that games like this give you options, right? You always have those little, you always have the ability to pick your play style, which is kind of cool. And, you know, you can play the game over multiple ways and do things a little bit differently that way, so. But yeah, really at the end of the day, this game is a cheeseball story, and it's all about just having good fun and beating the crap out of a ton of hilarious 80s looking thugs with hilarious 80s names. And, oh yeah, here's a good one. Yeah, that's the other thing is any explosions on screen hurt the enemies too. So whether they're explosions that were caused by things the enemies dropped or things in the environment, it hurts them as much as you. So the environment is fair that way. If you know an explosion is pending and you can lure an enemy into it, it'll work in your favor, which is always nice. Yeah, get hosed, boy. And then there, again, I haven't been using that special very much because it does take some of your health, as you can see. And, of course, there is a combo meter there, which is, I have to admit, is very generous on its cooldown. Like, the combo meter, yes, you will, the combo meter will deplete if you get hit, but if you go for a good while without actually hitting an enemy, it takes a long time for it to drop down. And you have a multiplier up top as well there that you can see that increases your score. The game doesn't have anything like online leaderboards or anything like that, which is kind of a bummer. It just has a local top 10 table. which doesn't even allow you to enter names into it, which is a little odd. I do like the fact that it has a scoring system. I love scoring systems in games, even though many consider it kind of an outdated mechanic. So you see here, I picked up that crowbar off the ground. Very simple. One button bashes guys with it, the other throws it. And it can do a bunch of damage when it hits a guy at a distance, but then the weapon's gone. Or at least it's rendered, you know, it's put in a position where you can't easily pick it up again. So pretty straightforward stuff. And yeah, I do like games that have a scoring system in them, just because I'm from the era of active scoring systems. I still really like that stuff. It's too bad that the only real system it has for tracking that is a local leaderboard as opposed to an online one. That would always be cool. So you got a little environment thing. Oh geez, flaming barrels that come out of nowhere. Gotta dodge those. If you guys are of the era where you know things like Final Fight, Streets of Rage, things like that, none of this is becoming unfamiliar to you at all. Though I do like, there's a little nice touch like that, how everything in the background, including the heavy equipment, bounces when a guy hits the ground. I like that little, those little visual, see that? Those little cheesy visual flares, I really like that. Really shows a little bit of nice attention to detail here from the part of the developer, which I really like. And this is a game that is definitely not lacking in detail. I am playing with a controller. You can play with the keyboard as well, though having, you know, I find a controller makes things like this a little bit easier. It is nice in the sense that you can rebind everything. This controller menu seems a little awkward. It certainly doesn't fit the menu style of the rest of the game, but everything is fully rebindable. Very, very nice. You can choose your resolution, not in the in-game menu. You can do it via the Unity little pre-launcher thing that comes up for most Unity games. So you're able to do that, which is nice. There's not really many audio options to speak of. In fact, I'm not sure there are any. Not the end of the world for most people, but you know, if you like to be able to customize that stuff, that would have been a nice addition for sure. And that's the only other thing there that is a little weird, as you can see the level sections are often kind of small and they cut very randomly like that. Like when I walked into this bar, it had to cut to a load. The loads are very short, at least on PC here, and I'm running this on a mechanical hard drive, so this is not a you know, this is not a high demanding game, but I do find it a little odd that the levels have to cut fairly often and they're really not seamless. You just kind of get to a point and it's just like, hold up, I gotta load. And it's a little strange. Though each of these sections do, a lot of these sections do have little checkpoints in the menu like you saw there at the beginning. So you're sort of getting the idea here. So you go through to this, and there will be a boss that you get through. So these ones, because they're not on fire, you can actually punch them, and if you do, they often have little goodies in them. So you can either jump them, or if you're willing to stand here and punch them and maybe risk getting hit by them, you can get yourself some extra loot. Again, this game has a fairly advanced scoring system. Like, there's tons of loot options you can pick up. You know, there's a lot of score variance between the enemies and on combos and that. It's still strange to me that it has really no advanced method for tracking high scores in that, given the clear amount of effort that was put into the scoring system for this game. It is a little odd in that respect, but you know, that's a bit of a minor thing. But and the way this goes, honestly, you've seen a lot of it. You beat guys up, you fight a boss, and when the bosses are challenging, I will say, the first couple of bosses that I played so far, they're not pushovers, and you're going to need some strategies, and you're going to need to learn how to telegraph their moves and stuff in order for that to, you know, for that to work. So, okay, you know what? Oh, actually, I didn't want to trigger the rage there. I wanted to trigger the super, but oh well, this will work too. And I'm going to show you guys another pretty hilarious thing that they did add. Okay, there we go. I picked up a bigger gun. So you see how it has its own separate ticker there? So you can't choose, you can't alternate between the guns. This is now taken the place of what would have been like a melee weapon, effectively. So, and you see there, I actually dropped it. But that is a gun that you saw was a machine gun, so does a lot of damage and also fires very rapidly. So very good and you know, wise things to use strategically when you can. All right, let's do this. Good night. So you can see I've got a pretty good combo going there, and as a result, my multiplier is now up to ×5. I have gotten over 100 before. As I said, while the meter does instantly break if you get hit, as you can see right there, it's very dangerous. It's very generous in terms of how long it gives you without hitting something before it goes away, which is kind of cool. A lot of games are very picky about that. So I'm going to show you guys one other thing here, because honestly you're really getting the gist of this, but there is one other really hilarious mechanic they did add to this that I thought was pretty good. So you see, there's the top 10. You literally can't even put your name to a score. This really seems underbaked given the advanced nature of the scoring system in this. That's a little disappointing. So you also have a survival mode, which is really cool. There is a challenge mode that I've not yet unlocked. I believe you have to beat the game in order to get that. Survival mode is just that. How long can you survive? Cool little addition. Let's switch to this guy. Let's see if I can find the right level. Yeah. So this level is completely different, and it's pretty hilarious. Nice little metal thing here. Yeah. And here you are. You're in this ridiculous car chase thing where you're driving a car that basically drives like it's at a freaking crazy taxi. You have to kill enemy vehicles in order to keep your timer up. You also get more score, and you have to get near the end. You blow up civilian cars, you lose 5 seconds. No real penalty for murdering civilians, other than you lose half as much time as you would have gained from killing a bad guy. Yep. And there's ramp trucks, which at some points you actually have to cross, and when you do, it does this. It is total cheeseball. And oh yeah, there can be massive roadblocks that you have to jump over. If you don't, you just lose 5 seconds. You know, you're cool. It's a very durable automobile. You know, it's you know, they really knew how to build cars back then. You know, they don't build them like this no more. This, honestly, the one time I did this, I don't know how many of these levels there are. This level was dead easy. I beat it on my first try, and I had like 150 seconds left or something. It's really not hard. This is really just more of a goofy interlude, I think, and that was the intention. I don't think this was made to be particularly hard. But it's really goofy, and it is ridiculous and different. And you see, sometimes it can be a little tricky because these buggers like to shift lanes really quick here. They're about as dexterous as you are. So sometimes they'll shift them. It's very hard to completely avoid civilians in this game. Because sometimes these guys will just slide out of the way of one. They're trying to make you feel guilty. So this is just utterly ridiculous, but it's a bonus game, basically. This happened after a boss fight. And it's kind of like the equivalent of, you know, the old mini game in Final Fight where you had to destroy the car. This feels like a more advanced version of that, honestly. And it's just an opportunity to get more points. Yeah, it's cheeseball and kind of dumb, but I love it because the thing about this game is there have been a couple of attempts at brawlers that take themselves, I think, a little more seriously than they should. Whereas to me, the brawler genre or the beat 'em up genre has always been a cheeseball one. It's about the cheesy stories. It's about the machismo. It's about the, you know, the dumb crime-ridden cities where, you know, like in Final Fight, the mayor is this crazy big bodybuilder guy who, you know, goes for vigilante justice and all this stuff, and about ridiculous car chases and stuff like that. I think that's exactly what this genre should be and what it was made to be, and I think it's great. So there, how easy was that, right? And then we're on to the next level. It's this game knows exactly what it is and what it's trying to be, and I respect the heck out of it for it, honestly. I do wish, like I said, that the high scoring system was definitely more. Wow, this guy, I've never played this guy before. He is powerful, but he is slow. Also, that's a lot of sharks there. Oh, and apparently in this level, there's random lightning that comes down too. Also, guys with guns. These were ads for the boss in the last level. So, and it looks like this guy, yep, as I thought from his cutscene, this guy carries a shotgun, super slow, but wrecks a fool when you hit him in the face with it. So, this guy is interesting. He is wicked powerful, but boy, he's really slow, like really slow. I don't tend to like slow characters. I honestly tend to prefer characters who are less powerful or but much more agile. That tends to be what I want. Wow, that has a big AoE too. So as you can see though, yeah, this game knows exactly what it is. It knows exactly what its influences are. It knows exactly what it's trying to emulate, and that is frankly wonderful. I think it's exactly what I would want out of a game like this. It looks like it's going to have a fair amount of content, at least a couple of hours worth if you want to do a single run of it. Obviously longer if you want to play it again in co-op or play the extra characters or do the challenge mode or the survival mode. You know, you obviously have quite a number of options here. So apparently he uses his gun as part of his combos even when you're not using up the ammo. Oh look, a samurai sword, I'm sure. And of course you have the motorcycles. This is everybody's favorite mechanic in Brawlers. The motorcycles that keep coming on the screen and you have to time your jump to knock the guys off. If you don't, you'll get hit or they'll throw things at you. Much like that, you know. You kind of know how it goes. People either, you know, find that endearing or hate that mechanic. It's not my favorite thing, that's for sure. Wow, that was amazing. I kind of ran into this guy and did a whip around and threw him to the ground. Very, very cool. So yeah, honestly, I could just keep playing this because I just, you can see here, had like a big dumb grin on my face the whole time with these. I love games like this. They're especially fun in co-op, you know. The better high score system would be nice. And I mean, the one thing I'm always going to say, it would be great if this had online co-op, but I fully understand that online is not a simple thing to implement, especially in games like this and especially for indie devs. So that's not a thing I reasonably expect out of games like this is online play, but it would have been nice just because it makes it a little easier. But you know what? At time of recording, Steam has just launched their sort of remote play thing where you can virtually play any local two-player game with another person over the internet and only one of you has to own the game. So you know what? This doesn't have online play, but thanks to Steam, it kind of does in its own weird way. So I have no idea how well that system works, but I've never tried it out. But as I understand it, yeah, it allows you to play two-player games online that were never meant to do it, so that's pretty awesome. So yeah, honestly, I think this game is a good bit of fun, and it's a brawler, and it is a full traditional brawler. This will not sell you on the genre if you don't like it, but there are a lot of us out there, dang it, who do, and I am very much one of them, and this game makes me very happy that it exists, and I will be finishing it, and my good buddy Technomancer and I'm guessing we'll probably play it online at some point, because I'm looking forward to it. So, yes indeed, that is the TakeOver. The PC version is developed and published by Pelican 13. It is coming in 2020 sometime for the PS4 and the Switch, published by Dongan Entertainment, who are making some really, really good stuff. I actually got to play an early Switch version of this at PAX, and it played really, really well on that. So I think the console versions will be in good hands as well. It's $22.79 Canadian, which I think is about $20 US. Steam is having, oh, there it is. My enhanced or augmented Steam plugin wasn't working before, so it's $20 US. It has actually been cheaper before. This was an early access for a long time. You can see its historical low was $5, and that was in 2016. It just came out of early access recently, hence why you see that. So I'm really playing the final release version here. I really like it. It's a great brawler. I love brawlers, and I really want to support the cause. So if you like brawlers, consider picking this up because it is well worth supporting the cause on. And yeah, you can play two players online on Steam, so that's an extra little incentive there. For those of you who don't have someone close at hand, especially for a PC game. So yes, indeed. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please like, please subscribe, click the bell to get notified, and drop a comment in here and let me know what you think about this. You know, do you have other modern indie brawlers that you recommend? I would actually really love to know if there's some I've missed. Like, I have played Fight and Rage, and I have played a few other ones, but I'd really love to know if there's more good brawlers out there that you guys like. Let me know, please, because I would really like to play them. All right, you guys. Well, thank you again very much for watching, and we'll see you next time for another Indie Showcase. Take care, guys. We'll talk to you later.